volcanic Hawaii. The Hawaiian archipelago of 8 islands is world-renowned as a paradise for holidaymakers. For South Africans, however, it is the furthest place on the planet, exactly 12 time zones away. With a 17-hour flight from Johannesburg to New York, 6 more hours to Los Angeles, and then a further 5.5 until you reach the tropical heaven, is the experience worth it? We took the current Mr. South Africa, Nick Folstedt, with us to find out. Our adventure started at the largest of the islands, nicknamed the Big Island, because it's twice as big as the others combined and getting bigger, due to its active volcano.
To get around this island, especially to the places we want to go to, you need a 4x4 like this. Oh yes, and that fearless tour guide, like Jack here. How's it, Nick? Hey, man.
Jack is a local lad we met at the airport. He was keen to show us around, and we wanted an adventure the top-billing viewer would never forget. The 4x4 was his idea, as most of the places Nick wanted to visit you just can't reach in your average rent-a-car. With our exchange rates, renting is expensive, over $1,000 a day, and a cheap motel will set you back 800 rand a night. Back to the sightseeing. Our journey started at the rainforests. The island is home to 11 of the 12 climatic zones. All have been shaped by volcanic action, and even the extraordinary can be a playground.
These are the boiling pots, formed by the combination of the cold water and the hot lava.
The crystal clear water was almost cold during our swim, but it's known to bubble like a jacuzzi after rains. Legend has it the Big Island is still home to the volcano goddess Pele, and these pots were formed in a confrontation with the god Maui over rights to the island. Lightning bolts struck the rocks to form these natural pools. Unfortunately, there have been many accidents in these destroying waters that conceal long lava tubes, sucking surface water through and spitting it out at the other end. Swimming is not recommended, but Nick was not going to miss a second of the sensation of being here.
Oops, suppose I should have read that before I dived.
We left the lush vegetation and began to climb the incredibly steep saddle road, which is only for the really curious who like to get off the beaten track. It leads through a variety of eco, climatic, and geological zones. Most rental car companies don't allow their cars on this trip, but our guide had a thing or two he wanted to show us.
Try this rock for a sample. It's real lightweight, and it'll break real easy. All you have to do is just drop that on the ground and break in two.
Light, eh?
Yeah, it's quite light.
There are 2 types of volcanic lava that make up the soil, and this is A'a. A'a is very rough and almost hairy. It creeps forward slowly like a glacier. Walking over it feels like you're crunching on a coral reef. Best not take any souvenirs. Legend has it the lava is carefully protected by the goddess Madame Pele, and removing it could lead to bad luck until it's returned. Apparently, the local post office deals with a lot of returns. The desolate landscape is in strong contrast to what you might expect from a tropical island. A little further down the road, we found another phenomenon.
This is the other kind of lava. It's called Pahoehoe lava. It came out at a hotter temperature than the A'a.
Is that why it's got the ripples?
Exactly, that's exactly why.
Pahoehoe flows like a river and has a smooth, shiny, billowy surface, much like black glass, which is no coincidence, it is almost glass. Just as glass is made of heated sand, so is lava. Hence that crunching sound we heard as we walked over it. It's sharp and can cut you, and you have to watch your step. After a steep drive, you're back to a magical fern kingdom. You almost expect fairies to peep out through the vibrant greenery.
This is an old lava tube. Long ago, the hot lava used to flow through here, and the outer crust hardened, which caused this cave.
The molten track of lava flowed about 50 kilometers to the sea. When it drained away, it left behind a damp, empty tunnel large enough to accommodate a subway train. The walls of the tube are so smooth, they almost appear man-made. This is the only part of the tunnel open to the public, and it's quite a thrill to walk, touch, and feel where once flowing fire poured. That's right, Nick. Leave it behind. Further up Saddle Road is the highest point on the Pacific Basin and the highest inland mountain in the world. The dormant Mauna Kea is called the White Mountain, as in midwinter it is covered in snow. Home to the world's foremost ground-based astronomical observatory sites, the expansive volcanic vista of the summit area is made of cinder cones on a lava plateau. This site is cold because it rises above 40% of the Earth's atmosphere and 98% above all her water vapor. And there's a danger of altitude sickness.
I feel like I'm standing on top of the world. That's because I'm standing on top of Mauna Kea, 4,205 meters above sea level. That's way over 3 times the height of Table Mountain.
It is so close to a real lunar landscape that the location is used by NASA in astronaut training exercises. But getting as close as humanly possible to the active volcano was our mission, so we hit the road again and headed for the Hawaiian Volcanoes National Park. Much of the area is desert due to acid rain, but the craters of past eruptions have an unusual life of their own. The distinct smell of sulfur may be overwhelming and nauseating, but the view around the crater's rim is quite breathtaking. The steamy precincts of the Halemaumau fire pit are currently home to Madame Pele, and on the edge of the big hole, many of the locals leave either sacrifices or offerings to the goddess in the form of flowers and food. This is also to bring blessings and luck to the givers and to prevent her from blowing her top again. With Nick that close, I'm sure he said a prayer or two of his own, but he never felt close enough to the hot stuff. So we dug deep into our pockets and chartered a chopper.
Not only is this the perfect way to see a volcano, this is my first helicopter ride.
There are a number of helicopter tours available, and from the air you can finally grasp the vastness of the island. You soar above places you can't get near to on land by car or by foot. Our pilot avoided the populated parts and took a route instead over the lush rainforests. The beautiful waterfalls were soon replaced by the devastation left after past volcanoes. Not only did the natural vegetation get consumed, entire villages were displaced and housing razed to the ground. This particular eruption started 16 years ago and is still going strong, making it the longest-running active volcano in the world. Our safety-conscious pilot made sure he avoided flying right into the billowing smoke. This is one of the only places in the world where land is still being created. As the lava hits the ocean and cools, it hardens, spreading the coastline further out to sea. The main road below was destroyed by the outpour and is only navigable for a short distance. That was the road we had taken, and our guide wanted us to get back onto it to get us even closer to the still burning lava. Madness!
It was hot. It was so hot, the helicopter was almost losing balance. Anyway, tonight we're going to try and get us close enough to the lava so that we can light a cigarette.
All right, Nick, but first things first, let's find a pretty beach to watch the sunset. We chose the legendary Waipio Valley. Waipio translates as curved water, but should have been called curved and very steep descent. Getting to the beach was a mission. The drive down the cliff face on the narrow road was frightening, but the breathtaking scenery made it worthwhile. The valley is laced with waterfalls, rivers, fish ponds, and a wild array of fruit-bearing trees. The beach is unlike any found in South Africa, with sand that is soft and black.
What happens is the hot molten lava flows down the mountainside, hits the cold ocean, crystallizes and forms this black sand.
This is not what we imagined the surfing hotspot Hawaii would be like. And this is definitely not one of their great surf spots. But the warm water created by the volcano is taken advantage of by the locals, and it is a popular picnic and camping site. Once the sun set, it was on to the climax of the trip. Jack was going to take us right up to the flowing lava. We drove the road we saw from the chopper and ignored the warning signs. We then took a 15-minute walk to the spot where red flames creep through the rock and steam rises from beneath your feet. That was where the crunching glass sound beneath our shoes began again, only this time crisper and scarier.
What's happening here?
Heat from the core of the earth. Sulfuric acid.
Well, this is our first sign that shows that we're getting close to the molten lava.
We certainly were. Not surprisingly, rare visitors to a threatening landscape.
Yeah, this is like a hot plate. It's still hot. Yeah, it's hollow.
The lava glass is razor sharp and cut Nick's fingers as he felt it. So don't take the rocks away or even touch them.
Standing on an entirely unstable region right now.
Just molten lava flowing right underneath us.
You can't walk there.
I wouldn't if I were you, Nick.
This is extreme Hawaii right here, Nick.
Look at those dots. Look at the red dots.
This is the lifeblood of the island right here.
And those dots are molten lava.
Can't believe this. We're like 2 meters in front of 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's right. Right here in front of us.
Woo!
Feel the
It's
heat on your
cooking.
face, can't you?
I don't smoke, but just to prove to the top billing viewers how hot this lava actually is, I'm gonna attempt. Check it out. A wise man once said, buy land because they don't make it anymore. Well, the big island of Hawaii just proved him wrong. This has been an amazing adventure.
But definitely not what you might expect of this legendary surfing paradise. Crunchy volcanic ash instead of gigantic rolling waves. But next week, we do bring you the surf and sun paradise of popular imagination and take surfing lessons with the great Buzzy Kerbox. Don't miss it.
Coming up, Artistic Racing's Glory Days.